that's good. Laughter is
The
healing.
best medicine.
Friends, good morning. Thank you for our patience while we got rolling this morning. I had an extra errand to do. My kiddo has prom tomorrow night, a funeral and prom back to back. So he needed a coat cleaned. Oh. Well, happy Friday, friends. Good morning. Let us know in the comments if you can hear us okay, if you're here. What a week. It's felt like it flew by, and there were 7 million chapters in it. You as well?
7 million chapters.
I know you. Hey, Jordan, good morning. I know you said you had a really full week this week. Do I remember that right? Yeah.
It was like back to back to back.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening?
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the chat. Yeah. I was like, what?
Your face. I'm like, is there a spammer doing something I can't see? Are you just amazed?
Amazing.
Okay. Good morning, Michelle. Oh, it's not, Facebook's not letting you know. Oh, that's weird. I don't get them either. I don't get the notifications either. I only get the YouTube notice.
When you go live.
Good morning, Lakshmi. Well, what a beautiful, auspicious. Lakshmi's in the house. Good morning.
Oh, no big deal.
Hi, David. Good morning, Patrick. All right. Well, I've been so looking forward to this conversation. I'm so happy to introduce Raina to you. Raina is a spiritual guide and astrologer. We've traveled. I could not remember when we first met because it's been years. Do you remember?
2015.
Okay, I love that you just had that right. Like
May 19th of 2015.
No, wait, are you making that up?
I saw you on the street.
What?
And you were.
Wait. Why would you? Because you're an astrologer. That's why you remember May 19th.
Dates are very important to me.
I am blown away. Okay. So May 19th, I was just on the street.
Yes. I was walking with my spiritual guide, and I met you outside
of Green Star. Okay. And then there was one of those you two need to meet moments.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, duh.
Obviously.
Raina is one of my closest friends and favorite people on the planet, everyone. So I am just like, Raina, do you mind if I just ask you like questions about your spiritual journey? And Raina will be coming into Astara to be teaching weekly astrology updates, like the week ahead forecast, and some amazing classes and workshops in memberships. So, all right, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey? Like, start anywhere, really, even if it's in childhood. Like for me, I remember like the Four Noble Truths pierced me when I was under 10. So start wherever.
Under 10. I probably won't start under 10. Where would I start? One time I saw sunlight coming through a tree. And I was like, whoa, something is happening. And I was probably 14. And that started my spiritual journey. That's always what I think of, is that moment, like remembering some connection. Wow. And then it probably was when my dad died in 2010 that I really started. I met you 5 years after. And I had really started to dive into just the deeper meaning and what we're doing here and what my calling really is and what I love.
How did that start emerging for you? How did you? So there was that moment of sunlight, which I so good. What was awakening along the way? Were you noticing your enthusiasms? Like what was resonating? Like how were you called? How was your soul calling you forth?
Yeah, it was just this kind of realization that there's something more, that there's something bigger to what's going on. I studied astrology all through my 20s, and I think that was the draw. Like there was always something up in the sky that was really like, I understood that there was something bigger happening. And I didn't know what, and that's what I wanted to study. That's what really woke up, was like, oh, there's something more going on than we're just seeing
Mm.
with our visible eyes.
And so, and how did astrology in your 20s start to bridge that? How did that start to, yeah, how did that really bridge those, that suspicion you had?
Sus. This is sus. Right. So I started reading about it and listening to people talk about planets and energies and things that could come into our world and what that may mean and how we can work with that or what that might feel like. And I was like, what is happening? Like, to me, that felt so huge and magical. And, but I always had this real like belief in it, like that there was something real about it. Um, And that's why I just continued to go deeper and deeper and understand really what that
And
meant.
did you work with your own chart as your basis of learning? Your how did, like, how did you know that it was, that it really provided the insight? Were you working with other people's charts in your 20s? Like, how did you continue to deepen in the knowing that this is really so quite magical?
This is magic. And no, I was just reading about it. And then I started reading about myths and different cultures and how they worked with the stars. And I was just like,
Mm.
okay. And I started understanding how big it was. It was when my dad died that I had my first chart reading. And yeah, it was learning my chart and starting there and working with my astrologer slash teacher slash mentor slash goddess, um, that I could really start to see that there's something that can emerge from a chart that may feel more truthful
Mm.
than the life that we're living. And that's what I wanted to focus on.
Wow. When your dad passed, did you have both of you, did you look at both of your charts together? Did that, I am hoping that as part of your service offering as an astrologer, that you advertise, market, um, what a profound modality this can be for grief, right? Both hypnosis and astrology are so tremendously, of course, psychic mediumship too can play a pivotal
Mhm.
role in grief, and when we lose someone that we so cherish. And I know for myself, it's been, astrology was the game changer when beloveds have crossed over, especially suddenly or tragically, that help make sense of the events. It
Yeah.
was game changing is an understatement. What did you discover, like when your chart was crossed with your dad's? Like, did that give you the awareness of the rightness of the timing? Like, what did that provide for you?
It I've looked at it a couple different times, like had dedicated sessions to really sit with it with another person to look at what we could see. I think what it gifted me was just a deeper understanding of our connection, why we chose to come in together to this lifetime is how I like to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I could really see the connections and, um, just all those things that you think are just regular and normal. You could see them in the chart in this really um, intentional way, right? That it's not like, yeah, it felt like that, right? It always felt like we were friends. But no, when you look at the chart, you can say, like, oh, you guys may have had a past life connection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can see that and why you would bring that into this lifetime because of this and this and this. So you can start to weave together this beautiful story about your connection and why you're here and what you learned from and what you healed and what you gave that person and what you received. And
Mm.
to me, that's so healing.
It can literally be that which allows someone to settle into the fact that they are still here in their incarnation and their person isn't.
Yeah.
It can really be the very thing that gives you, where you can give yourself permission to continue to lean into your aliveness.
That's so beautiful. Exactly. And it's like you feel that thread with them. But then it's like you have that to come into that space of, okay, well, you're the one that's still here on this plane.
Yeah.
And you can keep the connection. And how do you move forward from here?
Yeah. Yeah. It provides
That's
just enough understanding in all three centers. It's like when you look at the charts of the two crossed, it gives the head center the ability to relax. It gives the heart center the ability to maintain its open connection with the head center, and then that core center of power. Now you can still live in action, because living is action oriented.
that's beautiful.
I just, wow. Can you tell us a little bit about the style of astrology in a way that someone who isn't like, I can't describe the difference between Vedic and Hellenistic and lunar. However, can you paint a little picture so that somebody that knows there are differences and yet couldn't define them?
Yep. Sure.
It would
I
make
can't
sense.
speak to that. Yeah, so astrology's been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and a lot of different cultures have different variations of their own astrology. I use modern Western astrology. Um, I've also studied Hellenistic, which is very ancient astrology, which is really lovely if you want to understand the root of the way we talk about astrology now.
Mm.
So I really went into the depths to do that, and yet I really practice just modern astrology, which just means I use Placidus house system. Um, and I know nothing about Vedic astrology other than I think it's really cool. Stay tuned because I'm sure I'll start studying it in a couple of years. But for now, yeah, for me, the astrology that I do is much more about the Sabian symbols.
Oh,
Um,
tell us about that. And
yeah,
then, yeah, tell us what that
that's
means.
important because to me, it's less about the squares and the aspects and the technical language of astrology. A circle has 360 degrees, so there's for each degree there's a symbol attached to it. So
Mm.
we all have access to these 360 degrees in a very specific way in each of our charts. Okay. And so this knowing that symbol gives you another layer of understanding your chart. And to me, I really like bringing those to people. You don't have to have any understanding of astrology at all. When you hear a symbol, it can kind of just like drop into you in a different way than me saying, Venus is square your Pluto,
Mm.
right? Where the symbol can add that additional kind of, from my experience, is like it's a remembering when I hear the symbols. And that's what I really long to bring to people is that the familiarity that they have with the symbols that I speak about that are in their chart.
Mm. And the symbols, there's like, this is so not astrology language. There's like an OG set of symbols, right? And then there are different ways that you can speak them, right? And I'm only saying this because I think I have a memory of like all of the people that are like closest to me are all astrologers. And it's
No big deal.
shocking how little of it penetrates me, right? Because they're always talking.
You're like, no, thank you.
I love the interpretations, right? So I've heard like a more OG phrase of the Sabian symbols, and I'm like, that doesn't. And then there's a different interpretation of it, and I can see that it's the same, but in different language. Is it maybe a little more contemporary, or are there
Yeah.
different variations of them?
Yeah, there's a ton of different variations. There's the OG, as you say, they were channeled in the 1900s by a woman named Elsie Wheeler.
Hmm.
Um, and they're outdated, to say the least, in some sense. So there's been a bunch of variations that astrologers have done. My astrology teacher is currently revising them and creating her own version.
Oh, now I get it. Wow.
That's yes.
Wow.
And so and hers are very much more linked to the elements and to
Oh, okay.
what's relevant now, what people can grasp in a more timeless way.
Kim says hi.
Hi. With the hearts. Oh, thanks, Kim. Yeah.
Okay, so now I get it. Now I get what Linda's up to. How far is she like there's 360. How far are we along, Linda? Linda's amazing.
So
Linda's a local astrologer who is a master teacher and transmitter of such profound wisdom and knowledge. And to hear that she's putting something on paper, keep writing, Linda.
I know,
Keep
I
writing.
know. I, like, go see her every week, and I'm like, "Where are we now?" So she's maybe a little bit of the way through. There's a lot of work to do. It's, like, been done, and now she's really at the refining point, I would say. So stay tuned. I can't wait to talk about them more. Um, I do talk about them in my chart readings, the ones that are complete. But yeah, I think it'll be amazing. And a lot of my friends that don't do astrology really appreciate those symbols. And you can then have a new moon. We have a new moon every month, and you'll have a new symbol to sit with and to contemplate and to bring into your meditation to see what wants to unfold for you.
Right. So are there symbols that are for everyone at it, like, and then an individual one, or how does that work? Is there like
For
a
me,
symbol? Yeah.
it's how we work with them. So we can look at a symbol and then interpret it on a collective level.
Mm.
That's the more mundane astrology. And we can bring them into our own individual life and say, what does that mean for me? The symbols it's like they're alive and they're living. And so we can interact with them and participate with them.
Mm.
And then our life can grow. That's what it feels like to me. So the more that we connect with them and sit with them, just on an individual level, the more we can bring them into our life and see what wants to be created in our life.
You know what? I'm gonna should you. You know what you should do? I'm gonna
Show
should
me.
all over you. You should unless somebody's already done this, then this would be an inefficient shoulding. Um, make a deck of
Yeah.
all 360 symbols and then everyone has the same deck, and then the one that's relevant for you, there's a system or way. Does this already exist?
And I don't know. I've talked to my sister about it. I asked her to start painting an image for each symbol because yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. It's so fun to work with them and to really that's like bringing the astrology like into your body, into your life so you're not so up in the ether.
And then it could become an intuitive standing embodied moving practice.
You got it.
See?
Because we're gonna hit all the levels. We're gonna hit all the layers. Um, and really make it my whole personality. Yeah. Totally. Totally.
Okay, so Ariana's asking, so do you also teach? Can you tell us a little bit about what some of the you as Raina as an educator looks like, sounds like, and a little bit about your one-on-one work? Because Raina, as for some of you who are Enneagram familiar, where have you landed? Because it changes sometimes. Have you landed as core type 4 or have you landed as core type 5?
5.
Thank you. I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, she is a core type 5.
You know it.
Yes, yes. And core type 5s study for decades and immerse in anything that they are interested in. Like Raina has like the equivalent, I'm positive, of like 17 PhDs. It's so many things.
It's so bad. I
Doing
know.
sessions with Raina, you're just like, oh my gosh. She's like, well, let's do a little bit of this shamanic soul retrieval. Let's do a little bit of this astrology. Let's do a little bit of Ayurveda. It's incredible. So tell us a little bit about your one-on-one work and what that is like for your clients.
So for one-on-one work, first, we always start with a full natal chart reading where we look at your natal chart together and we just start to learn it and understand it. your chart is your whole life in a sense. So it's not like a one and done. That's why astrology is so fun. It's so vast and so deep. So to be able to sit with someone and look at their chart with them, it's a very sacred session, and it's really can be the platform for the rest of your life. You can always be referring back to it. So we do the one-on-one, and then I have follow-up appointments, a variety of them, because depending on how much people want to get into it and what they want to do. So you can have a grief reading with someone that's passed. You can have one with your child to see what's going on with them and look at your relationship with them. So those are all just like, there's a ton of follow-up appointments that you can do. You can look at your progressions, which is how you're evolving and what's new coming in for you. When you feel like really weird and different, like, but nothing has changed, you can look at certain charts and see, oh, well, this moved here. You're going to feel a total shift in the way that you relate to your body. So the follow-ups are kind of multifaceted in that way. It's very custom to whatever the client is working with. As for teaching, I've had one-on-one students where we work together to understand astrology so that they can develop a spiritual practice of astrology for themselves. So they understand the planets, the signs, and the houses in a very simple, basic way. And then they can just dive in as much as they want from there.
Comments are like Raina's squirrel we're seeing. Is that the coolest question?
Are we allowed to talk to them?
Yeah. Yes. Everyone here is wonderful and friendly.
Wow. Is there a way to connect and communicate with future children that aren't here yet? Well, let's see. I don't know. Probably. I think it would be a mix. It would be a mix of your chart, what's coming up for you, and some kind of like mediumship or channeling that we would do in the session to see what wants to come through. How
What a cool question. Ariana, you have to be in. So this would be a really amazing intro to astrology class. So friends could learn the basics of how to look at their chart and the progressions.
Yeah.
And to be able to keep track of, there are some astrologers like that have YouTube pages and they'll say, this is what's coming up this month. So here's what you want to look at in your chart. And so if you know how to do that, then you don't have to keep going to your astrologer to show you that.
Exactly.
That'll be very, very cool. Okay, I have a couple of questions about things that are fixed or not. And I suspect maybe different styles of astrology might have different responses. What is your perspective on what is fixed in your natal chart? Is your arrival time, your exit time fixed? Or are those open for adjustments?
I love that question. Your arrival time is when you were born. I think that's fixed. I don't know anything about exit points.
Really?
I've heard, so I've studied a lot of Paul Brunton, philosopher, talks about everything, spiritual philosopher. And I remember he said, because that was a big question I had with astrology, was like, what are we going to know? Like, what can we really find out, And I remember him talking about exit points and how they change and that we can choose them. And I stopped there with that exploration, and that felt really right to me, and it just really resonated with me. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like is it fixed? Like is your exit time fixed or not?
I don't think so. I think because we're always evolving, right? So I think there's some fluidity to it.
Cool.
Thank
I have
you.
no idea. I've heard everything from
Cool.
it's absolutely fixed to this is very likely to it can be changed and yet it's one of the harder things to shift. So I don't know what's true. And again, I suppose it doesn't really matter.
Let's just focus on here while we're here.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is really cool. Cricket was born on 6/28/64, and the town I was born in zip code is 6/28/64.
You know what that means?
Wild. No, I do not know.
Me
Tell us.
neither. No idea. That's really cool though.
Oh my gosh.
I can't add all those numbers quickly, but if I could, 26, 7, I don't know, 7 maybe? Dabbled a little bit in numerology, which is really fascinating, because I like the degrees so much. You can connect numerology to astrology as well quite seamlessly, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look at your chart, Cricket.
Okay, I have another question for you. In some of the readings that I've done with you,
Hmm.
I don't know what you call it. It basically is you look at someone's chart and you can say, oh, these areas on the planet afford you in this area. If you lived in Austin, you would experience tremendous business success. If you
Yes.
lived in Scotland, my chart, it's like the highest.
Rainiest, most fulfilling.
My only conclusion is that I obviously just wouldn't go out much. So would I stay in studying and
Which
meditating?
you love, right? And then the sun does come out, and it's gorgeous in Scotland. I don't know if that's true.
How
I just
often does it come out? Right? Like, just that's the bigger question. So now
honestly, I feel like it's more than Insta.
and then I've been feeling this itching. Oriole, hi, buddy.
Aw. I was like, in the chat?
He's so close. In a particular area, it's like misery, poor health, bored to tears. So what is
Yeah.
it about? Is it because there's different karma with people and opportunities in these different places, and therefore you like nothing in that is fixed, right? You can.
Yeah.
So how does that? Like? Why are certain areas more fruitful and some more detrimental? Does it also connect with the karmic relations you would have in each area, and or can you speak a little bit to that?
I would think I haven't studied astrocartography a lot. I actually
Mhm.
use it a lot because I think the best way to study it is from experience. So looking at their chart. So basically what you're talking about is you take your natal chart and you put it on the whole globe and you see different lines everywhere in the world. And those lines will give you information about what it may be like for you to be there. That's the basis of it. It's a huge field. I think it's fascinating, especially now because we're becoming so much more global and mobile that people are able to work from different places. So there's more of like, oh, maybe I'll go here for a while. Karmic relations, I think that's just inevitably woven into the chart. So, of course, and you can read about each interpretation. So, say you have a Jupiter line through this city, a Saturn line through here,
Mhm.
and you can read each interpretation. But for me, everything astrological has to be taken in and kind of filtered through for me to come up with anything really to say.
Mhm.
Meaning it can't be the same thing for everybody. Our charts are so unique and so huge, that when we're looking at a Jupiter line in a place, it's giving us one theme of what it could be like to be there. Um, which is fascinating. My point is just like anything in astrology, you want to really take it into you
Mhm.
and see what it might feel like. So just because it's like exuberant and expressive, that might not feel good to somebody with a certain chart, and it may feel really good to somebody with a different chart. So
Mhm.
it's just kind of taking in all of the data, and seeing what that feels like. And that's how I guide people when they're like looking at relocating and looking at the maps, like taking everything into account, including your natal chart and the line that we're looking at.
Um, You record readings, right? When you do sessions with clients, so that way you can review it, and so the client can review it. It is having my chart done every year for the last couple of decades has been
Mhm.
one of the smartest investments that I have that I make in literally my health and well-being.
Totally.
It's game changing. And can you talk a little bit about charts for relationships, like
Mhm.
partnerships?
Yes.
How's that go? The value of seeing you if you're in a partnership, and
Oh my God.
perhaps there's a squeeze point, or perhaps some you just keep rubbing up against the same thing.
That to me, there if anything, this is the most important part of learning astrology
Mm,
because we are relational beings and all we're doing is relating with each other. It's so hard to be in a relationship or have a friendship that gets to a point when you're like, what is this ick? Like, what is coming up? And
mm.
there's so many ways to work with it, and that's all great. But for me, seeing that cosmic context of, oh, you guys have Chiron on your ascendant, that's going to
Obviously.
feel terrible. If you don't know that,
Yeah.
it's really hard to find the will to do the work to heal it. That's
Mhm,
my experience. That's why I think it's so important. When
mhm,
I can see it, like this is the opportunity. It helps it like hone in to say this is what's feeling hard. And this is why, and this is how long it will last, and this is the work that you can do in the meantime to work through it, and this is the opportunity that it's affording you, which could
mhm,
be, you're getting closer or whatever. But sometimes when something gets hard, we just stop. And so looking at those relationship charts,
mm.
um, to me it's huge. And to see like you can have longevity. You don't have to just like, oh bye, like this hard, I don't want to do it anymore. So it really just opens everything up for me. And you can look at it with your parents, with your kids, with your friends, anybody, and you can make a new chart and see a whole world of what the relationship is as its
Mm,
own uh, living, breathing entity.
mm. Oh my gosh, that was so beautifully said. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Tell us a little bit about your travel in through Kim's programs, because I know that's another layer as a healer that you bring into your one-on-one services.
Mhm.
How does that integrate into your offerings?
Yes. So I started working with Kim 1 year ago, in April of 2023, and I've never stopped. And it was very clear to me very quickly that I could, well, I guess I can put everything with astrology, but there's a specific quality of Kim's work that to me relates really well to the astrology that I do.
Mhm,
Um, Which is A, it's all about healing. Secondly, bringing the astrology into the body, into all of the layers of you, not just having it be um, a very mental third eye practice. Um, and this idea of when we talk about alignment and what it feels like to be aligned,
mhm,
which is great in itself. And I can really feel it with astrology. Being aligned to me astrologically means that we're living the full expression of all of the planets and points in our chart, which is really what we spend our whole life here trying to do. And to overlay it with Kim's beautiful, efficient,
mhm,
incredible, amazing work is
mhm,
so powerful because you can see your chart, you can see your soul, you understand your vision, and then you have tools to really bring it to life in a whole new way instead of just saying, "Oh, this is your chart. You're amazing. Thank you." And then not having any idea how to live that chart.
mm. Also, is that a Waterhouse painting on the wall
What's a
back
lot?
behind back behind you? The
This
No, not one. The one in the corner closest to the window.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the Waterhouse painting?
You know the water, like they're just like, I don't know how to describe them. They're ethereal and like there's like sometimes mermaids. Is that a mermaid sitting on a rock or no?
Are you talking about this one?
Yeah.
This is so fun. That is a Buddha.
Oh.
So
Oh.
I don't know how to zoom in.
Okay. That's okay. It looks no, it's all right. It just looks like a water house from this distance.
I think it's
Um
probably both. You know what I mean?
okay, we have a couple of awesome questions. Um Lori has a question. Lori's in Idaho and wants to seek out a spiritual guide. Where can I find someone? So, Lori, if you go to astraradirectory.com, you can type in Idaho and see what practitioners are in your vicinity. And there are many practitioners listed there that also work remotely. So I would say astraradirectory.com is a great resource. Um, Erin's asking, can we learn what's in our soul contracts through our charts?
I think so. I think that's a lot of what we're looking at when we do a reading.
Mm.
Um, I often use the phrase soul contract, and now I'm like thinking about it and thinking about that word contract, which I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting this feeling of like honing in. And so, yes, I think that is what we're doing when we look at our chart. There's so many options and there's so much we can do and so many things we can be and so many things we can love. But when we don't know, it's really a map of what we came here to do. What's our mission? Um, I don't like to make it sound that work oriented, although I like that language. Not everybody like, let's do the work and the research. I get that not everybody loves that. But yes, I think that's what we are doing as we're looking at those soul contracts.
Um, if we can step back a little, can you tell us a little bit about 2024? What a year.
What a time to be alive.
Oh yeah. So we've just gone through eclipse
Yeah.
and epic solar flares, and tell us a little bit about what we can look forward to.
I think it's going to get a lot nicer. I think that eclipse season was really intense. And I think it was really helpful in the sense that what I experienced and what I saw with my clients was a lot of stuff coming up that was just like, I can't do this anymore. This needs to not be in my life. And I think it was really just helping show us like what wasn't working and what doesn't feel good and what doesn't feel aligned. um, in May is a completely different feeling than that. This month we had the Jupiter Uranus conjunction at the end of April. That's a seeding point for the next 14 years. This whole new cycle has started. And Jupiter Uranus is like expansion and breakthroughs. To me, it feels like inspired chaos, which I know that's like
I like the first part.
but that's what it kind of feels like. It's like I know, like I have like a different vision now and I can see like something new wants to happen. But there's also that feeling right now of like, wait, what's going on? And it feels a bit shifty and trying to reorganize. That's how I'm feeling in May. But it's in Taurus, which is Earth, and can feel like we just have to find our grounding. And I think that's what a big thing that's being called of us. The other thing, there's also Pluto's moving into Aquarius, which nobody will stop talking about, myself included.
What that means, because that to me is like
Blah, 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 blah.
and I know
So
these are the same things. So
it means it's going to be here for the next 20 years. So
okay, so we're gonna snuggle up with this. All right.
get cozy.
All right.
It's very different. We just had Pluto in Capricorn since 2008. It was in an earth sign. And now we're just like shooting up into the air, having it be in an air sign. That elemental shift of saying we're moving from deep earth into air. I mean, you could talk about that for an hour and what that's like. Aquarius is innovative. There's a lot of AI becoming popular. That's a lot of the Pluto into Aquarius, innovation, technology. and that's fun to talk about. I talk more about the Aquarian piece being more about community,
Mhm.
collectives,
Mm.
um, coming together to serve humanity in a new way. Are things happening?
Did you see that? Yeah.
It's the worst. It's not, I don't know how to turn it off.
Well, I love that one. And nothing is more hilariously awkward when you're in a client session and a
Hands
really
down.
a lot of emotion is moving and suddenly there's balloons that float up.
Balloons flying out, and I don't know how to do any of them. Um, so that's Pluto and Aquarius. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. It is a big shift, and like I said, to me, just how can we serve humanity and make things better? That's what's up for me as a healer and as a guide, and just bringing that to people as much as I can, and doing my own work, and having that be my intention. If that's, where the energy is shifting, and that's what's important right now.
Mm. Did you when you look back into your youth, does your life make sense? Like what you
Can't
look
wait till I'm 70 and being like, "Oh, that was so obvious." Like, everything that seems terrifying, you're just like, "Oh, I just needed to do that. Oh, that just needed to happen."
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
It's so fun, right? It's like a picture filling in, and you're like, "Oh, that's what that was. That's why I did that. That's why I moved there. That's why I met him."
Yes, yes, yes. And astrology, especially having your chart done with a skillful reader, helps you to make sense and see the rightness and the opportunities of everything, right? I mean,
Beautiful.
I the lens I look through our lives unfolding is that it is here for our healing. Our lives do unfold perfectly for our healing, growth, and evolution, so we can come back into knowing ourselves as our true nature, our essence, our true identity, whatever language you like. And that does not mean it's a gentle ride, just because it's designed for us to heal, evolve, and grow, by no stretch. um, and each one of us in some way has if you're here listening to this, you in some there's some moment you're like really conscious about, I really wish to be free. I really wish to be free of unnecessary suffering. I really do wish to heal. I really do wish to know myself as what I really am, and buckle up. And so, thank goodness we get to do this in kind, caring company, because it's like a team sport and a solo sport.
Yep.
What a wild.
It's astrology, right? It's always the individual and the collective. It's,
Yeah.
what am I doing, and how is that interacting with the bigger picture? And to have friends and groups of people to go through that with in your own way
Mm,
is everything. I mean, and I think it's just gonna become more and more important as we go through the next decade.
mm. Do you know yet what some things are going to be that we can look forward to learning with you in Astara? No is fine.
I wanna go nope.
No, not a clue. Okay.
I
I'll
want
put your
to
website
be
in the chat too. It's
yeah.
www. Okay, go ahead. Wait,
To me, I really want to, like I
wait,
said,
website.
it's my name, honey. It's
Okay.
RainaElkins.com. Sorry, I didn't know you didn't know
No,
that.
no, that's okay. And I'm a really slow typist. Chris,
Also, I quoted you.
this is me like typing literally. These are my typey fingers. So hang on. That's why I do so many voice memos, because this is what it looks like, friends. Hang on. Elkins.com.
Did everybody get that? Um,
There we go. That's
I
how you
see
find
it.
me.
Um, so I really wanna teach the basics of astrology. Um, Astrology can be very simple. It can be very deep, but there's really just a foundation that you get to learn and memorize. The rest is very intuitive, can be very intuitive. It can also be technical. I do the intuitive. And it's a lot of, once you learn it, you can really start channeling and getting your own information about what Aries feels like for you, because it's through the lens of you. So I really just want to have a basics course that people can take. And then they know what it means when people say, look at your rising sign, and this is where it's going to be affecting you, and your seventh house, which means this.
The
That gives
nodes.
so
Everybody is
much
always talking about
context.
the nodes. Bert's always talking about the nodes. Oh, the nodes.
The nodes are very important.
Right, right, like, ugh.
What the hell are the
No,
nodes? So yeah, we
there's a
could do
big
like a
one,
little
there's a little
workshop on the
one.
nodes. So true.
Funny
And
what switches and
eclipses,
what doesn't. Yeah.
knowing the eclipse season, it is so profound. It's like 3 years. You have a total sense of what you're letting go of and what you're being drawn into. And that's your context for 3 years. So it's really
Oh,
simple once you
well,
know it.
I'm just so grateful that, and this is the beauty of when we all are willing, and boy, it takes courage to say yes to that which, like Bashar says, follow your highest excitement, or when we
Oh,
say yes to just trusting our enthusiasm, especially when we have not a clue how it's going to sustain
yeah.
our livelihood. It unfolds. It really, really does. So I'm so grateful to you and to everyone here that is a yes again and again and again to your unique excitements, because your passions, your enthusiasm, your inspiration is connected to your talents and gifts, and they're latent. However, you're just gonna, whatever you're obsessed about, like, stay on that because it's leading you somewhere.
Yeah.
The readings that I've had with Raina gave me such peace of understanding. She has such an incredible way of wisdom and compassion and skill. It's just incredible. I think about our conversation, like when we talked for like 2.5 hours. I think about parts of it like often because it gave such context for events.
Yeah.
Mm, mm. um so thank you for your skill. Like, I feel the resonance of how you break it down and interpret it, and it just doesn't stick, and that's okay. It doesn't need to.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'll remember what you remember, and you'll go back when it's time to go back.
Mhm.
It's incredible. It's incredible work.
Mm. So we are going to see more of Raina in Astara. She'll be doing on the free side some the week ahead forecasts kinds of things as live streams, and you can ask questions. And then we'll be learning astrology with Raina as well, and anything else. I mean, Raina has been studying so many different things for so many different years, so
Yeah, really.
awesome. It's awesome, and how they all weave together is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, Rena, thank you so much for being here with us
Thank you for
today.
having me.
And friends, let's see, coming up today, 1 o'clock in Astara, free live stream with Michael of New Earth Ascending. Get your shift together. He has a talk today, I believe from memory. It's about ley lines and geographical hotspots. Is that the same thing? Are ley lines what you were talking about earlier,
I
Raina?
think it's different.
Is
Yeah, I
it?
think it's different.
Okay.
I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then go check out the events in Astara for the weekend. I know I'm forgetting some things, but I do know what's happening today, and that is
That's great.
Michael's talk, and he really prepares for these talks. So they're it's like incredible education. I know there's something else I wanted to say. Next week for the podcast, have some really fun lineups. Monday is maybe, I'm waiting to hear back from Patrick, and thank you, I got your message. He may be bringing some live music in to start a Monday morning concert, mini concert. That would be super cool. Tuesday, Laura will be back for one day, so she'll do the podcast on Tuesday. Wednesday, I'll be here with Ron. Thursday is super cool. Tracy Trimble is going to be on Thursday, and she's going to be doing a live demo of someone receiving a soul reveal read in real time. It is so incredible to see how her work. And then Friday will be Lauren Roche back to talk about soma, meditation, being in a dark room for a month, anything we're in the mood to ask him about. So we have some really sweet event podcasts next week, and then Laura will be back. So thank you, friends. Thank you for just coming together. It's a highlight of my day to get to be with you here live and to participate with you. So, Raina, thank you.
Thank you so
I love
much.
you.
I love you.
We'll see you all soon, friends. Have a beautiful weekend. Go outside, connect with nature. Have a great day, David. Isn't his Oh, Steph, thank you. Thanks for being here. Isn't David's last name so cool? Sunseeker.
Yes. Okay.
TFFN.
Ta-ta for now, all.
Oh, okay. I'm not cool, so that's like
I don't know. It might be wrong. I don't know.
I like that. All right, everyone. So much love to you, and we'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.